Whether your beer is in a bottle, can, or glass, kick back and relax. It's Better on Draft.
Hello and welcome to Better on Draft. This is Rob and with me is Wendy. Wendy, what are you drinking today?
Today I am drinking a Divinator, which is a Doppelbock from Kuhn Brewing Company. That was made by the Detroit Draft Divas.
I was wondering, okay.
For our 14th anniversary.
Was that recent?
Today was our 14th anniversary party.
That is pretty recent.
And our 15th anniversary party, we will be drinking the barrel-aged version of the Doppelbock.
Oh, that's awesome. Are you guys going to keep a can or two of those around?
I did buy some today to keep a couple so that we can test it against the barrel-aged, yes.
I strongly recommend putting an entry on your calendar so that you remember where you stashed it away.
Yeah, I will have to put it away from the other stuff in my cellar because I will want to drink it, I'm sure. It's really good.
You got to keep it out of sight, which means it's going to be out of mind. Today, I have a Guggenweisen from Gugman House. It was a find in a bag as I was cleaning up recently.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah. And I remember the whole story behind it. We were out day drinking, and this was our first stop. And of course, in Indiana, as I'm very happy to say, we don't have open container laws. You have to outlaw it specifically. So I got a 4-pack to go for our walk to our next place. And then we ended up getting a free ride to our next place. So we didn't have a chance to open it up. But it was still in my backpack. And I just now got around to getting it out of my backpack. So
nice.
Anyway.
I recently found 3 bottles of Pure and No Rules in my cellar, which is odd because today is No Rules Day.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually went down yesterday to look to see if I still had one, but I did not. So No Rules doesn't last long in my house. As soon as I get it, I want to drink it because it's delicious.
I think that Divination will have the same problem.
Yes. I'm really bummed because today is actually the pickup day for No Rules, and I am not going to have time to go today to pick up my bottles. So, there's cans now, which sucks. I miss bottles.
Will they be able to hold it for you?
They are.
Okay, that's good at least.
I hope, because I didn't call them on it.
Well,
they have in the past, so.
It
doesn't say you have to pick it up this day. It just says this is the first day you can pick it up.
Okay. Good.
I'm going to go next week.
So we did try recording last night, and things did not go well. So here we are today at a special time at 3:00. Between last-minute schedule changes and technical difficulties, it wasn't great.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. But we are turning that into a news show. And so we're going to go ahead and start. Wendy, you had an article for us to start with.
So I had a fun one for Earth Day, which was just here a few days ago. Arizona Wilderness Brewing Company is serving up water-saving beer, which, I'm all for. I took my one environmental science class in college, so I'm all for saving the earth because of it. This Arizona Wilderness Beer Company, since 2019, they have saved roughly 600 million gallons of water with their brews' revised ingredients. I'm not exactly sure what revised ingredients means, but I'm all for it.
Yeah, that's an interesting approach.
According to the article, each location is a repurposed building outfitted with energy and water-saving technology, and their menus are sourced mostly locally grown and raised ingredients, which I love a repurposed building. I think there is nothing more fun than going into a brewery that was made in a bank or a church or a funeral home or something along those lines. I just utilize what we have instead of building something brand new, in my opinion. So
Yeah, the church ones are especially fun. I don't know the names of the church parts, but whatever they do with the altar area, often put brewing equipment and stuff up there is always fun.
yes. But this Earth Day, they're encouraging all Arizonians to drink like you care and maybe stop by one of their locations to enjoy one of their water-saving beers, which I think is really funny because the beer is called This Beer Saves Water, and it is completely made with drought-tolerant Sinagua barley instead of more thirsty hops typically used in beer. They worked with North Arizona farmers to make this switch in their beers so that they could buy locally, which is also really cool. But each pint of the IPA helps conserve more than 50 gallons of water from the Verde River. So I am all for breweries that are willing to basically put their money where their mouth is and start doing all these things. I'm interested to try it. I don't know what a drought tolerant barley is.
Yeah,
I'm guessing it needs less water.
well, right. That's what I would guess. Yeah, it needs less water, less irrigation. I guess that's how they get to the saving 50 gallons. So it's interesting that they say a pint of IPA conserves 50 gallons of water because that's a lot of math.
Right?
16 ounces of beer. So they're saying the difference in the amount of barley that goes into that one. Well, the barley was the only one that was called out. I've got to assume there's other
Right.
efficiencies they found in the process.
They said with their revised ingredients, and they did say that all of their locations are outfitted with energy and water saving technology.
And I would guess a lot of that. So we've talked to quite a few brewers who use reverse osmosis, which is a great process for giving chemicals out of water to making very pure water. But I think it's a 3-to-1 or something like that ratio of you get 1 gallon of water for every basically 4 gallons of water go in, 3 come out as waste, 1 comes out as usable beer water. It's somewhere around that ratio. I don't know the exact number, but it is not efficient.
I was going to say that does not sound water conservant to me.
Right. So, but there's other stuff they can do with that water. It's just higher in minerals as far as what it's taking out of the other side of the flow process. So that could be one thing. Like if like in the olden days, they obviously didn't have reverse osmosis machines. They just put a
That
pipe
we
in the
know of.
river. Right. That exactly. Yeah, maybe they did put a pipe in the river. Maybe they did something to purify the water, boiled it or whatever. But that's what they had. So, and then a lot of the reverse osmosis machines, they use it to make neutral water, which is good if you're going to make a consistent batch of beer. And then they add stuff to it sometimes to make it more like the water in Munich or the water at this exact brewery in Munich. I'm stuck in one city right now.
That's okay.
So, but if we just skipped that process and tolerated, the differences in our beer batches, which I'm pretty sure we're already doing anyway, especially on the smaller breweries, then maybe there's some more water savings just in general there. But if they were skipping that process, well, there's 3 gallons to 1 gallon, if going off of just my memory. Yeah,
I am interested to learn how they would save that much water if it was. We'll have to reach out to them and see if they'll come on the show.
That'd be awesome.
Because
yeah.
I really do like talking to the breweries about the stuff they're doing for the environmental science. Because I do make fun of the fact that I took that one class and it changed my way of thinking. But it really did. Like the teacher really made me think about what I was doing and what the products I was buying were doing to the environment around me. So I do find it fascinating, the Alaskan brewings and the Sierra Nevadas that have been on the show that have talked about, and Terrapin, the things that they're doing to make themselves sustainable and lessen their footprint within the world, I think is is amazing. So I just wanted to bring that up, especially since it's Earth Day. Earth Day just happened, and I think it's Earth Month or something fancy
Yeah,
like
well, and
that.
we live on the earth. We should be good stewards of it, honestly.
Right? Like we want it to be around for future generations.
That's right. I kind of like it here.
I don't know. I've never been anywhere other than Earth.
Yeah.
Maybe I might like it better on Jupiter.
Well, yeah, yeah. I guess we got to
Who
explore
knows?
more. The switch of barley is interesting. Coming up, I know we've mentioned it, but the Craft Brewers Conference is this coming week, and it's a very exciting time in Indianapolis, at least in my mind. And one of the vendors there, I think they're a sponsor. I think they have a booth. I'm not sure with their exact relationship, but it's the Sugar Creek Malts Company, and they are, I'm going to say, up the road. That means a lot of things to a lot of people. It's maybe 30 minutes up the road from me, outside of Indianapolis. And on Friday, I got invited to pour beer at a big social event they're having after the Craft Brewers Conference up there. But my big hope is to talk to them about malting barley, because that's where they do it. So it's pretty exciting. But I'm curious. They switched the barley. What that would do to the actual flavor? Does it do anything to the flavor? And then the roastery up the road, the Sugar Creek Malt Company, they will custom roast malts for you if you like supply wood or what have you. They will, if you want apple wood, or if you want apple wood from that apple tree that you just cut down, so you're on your property, very local, then they would do that for you too. So there's options there, and they do sell smoked malts for home brewers and things too. So I'm interested to talk to them. I don't know what the difference is in the barley going in versus, I know what the difference is with smoking, because the smoked malts taste different. But then that's a lot of processing that happens in there.
That's true. I would have to imagine that switching out something even as simple as the barley can make a big difference in your beer.
And in an IPA, those tend to be lighter roasted barleys, which would be different from, the almost burnt ones that they use for stouts and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, interesting. We'll have to reach out to them to try to get a follow-up. Good find on that one.
What do you got today?
I want to start with some other good news. And this one is from our friends at, I didn't save their website name. This one is from our friends at Beervana blog. So they were reporting, this was back in December. It was going to be in our last news one, but we never quite got to it. But they were reporting that draft sales are improving, which is good, because, it's been all doom and gloom. There were a couple of notes that I really wanted to pull out of here. For example, so the on-premise sales grew year to year, with kegs being the biggest growth segment, which is kind of cool. It means more people are drinking draft beer, and we're pretty sure it's better on draft, so they should be drinking draft beer. But one thing of interest, so keg sales grew, which means other things had to shrink, and that was bottles and cans. And it's about 50-50 now at bars as to whether people are ordering beer on draft or bottles and cans. And so I've got to ask, because I have a suspicion that we are not the representative market for this. Do you ever order bottles and cans at a bar, Wendy?
Sometimes it depends on what they have.
Okay.
It depends on what kind of bar I'm at, because I have been to bars that I am not drinking anything out of their draft lines.
I guess that's a good point.
Which reminds me that my mentor, Annette May, is doing a seminar at the Craft Beer Conference about draft lines. So
Okay.
if you see her, say hello, since I am not going to make it this time.
Okay.
Yeah, it really just depends on where I'm at, what they have available. Usually I'm going to pick draft over a bottle or can, but if I've already had everything they have on draft and they have something in bottle and can that I haven't had before, I will go that route. That happened in New Orleans. All the stuff they had on draft was stuff that you could get anywhere
It
around
was all
that in
Abita.
the area. There was a lot of Abita. There was Parrish, but it was one of the other ones. But then I saw they had Ghost in the Machine in the bottles. So, I went for that one because it just depends on what you can get.
Okay. Would you guess you're at 50-50?
I would probably say more like 60-40. I'm usually going to pick a draft. Even if there's bottles, if I've had everything they've got, I'm still going to pick the draft over a bottle.
Okay. And I'd guess I'm at about 90-10. And that 10 is almost exclusively when I'm out on a golf trip and somebody has ordered a bucket of beers and there's an odd one left and they will hand it to me because it's not a beer I want, but it's a beer I'll have.
That sounds like parade day.
So, yeah, that's how it works sometimes. But I thought it was interesting that keg growth got it to about half and half with bottles and cans. Another thing to pull out of this was that craft beers sales in general were up. They were up about 0.5%, which doesn't sound like a lot, but remember they're taking that percent from someone else.
Right.
The premium plus lights section was down about 1%. That's that. The other 0.5% went somewhere. I don't know where.
Which is very interesting because I also, while I was doing research to try and figure out what to talk about, ran into an article about how Sam Adams, their light lager sales have increased tremendously lately.
I think that's a general trend. It was one I think that we need to explore a lot more if we can. Just talk to other brewers about it and things too. And I do want to just call out that their craft definition. This was not the Beervana blog's craft definition. This was their sources. Is all the beer that's not domestic lagers or imports. So that's a pretty good definition, I guess. But it does include, as you can see on the list on the screen, it does include right at the top there is Blue Moon is number one. It fell slightly. Again, this is a share, so it fell about 0.5% from 2023, but it's still at 11 and change. Voodoo Ranger and Sierra Nevada were 2 and 3, which is interesting. And then there is somewhere in here is another, Voodoo Ranger Juice Force is way down at the bottom. So that one got split in two. So Voodoo Ranger and Juice Force are different brands, I guess, according to this group.
I guess that makes sense because they've got the Voodoo Ranger and all their lines, and then they've got the Voodoo Ranger Juice Force and their lines.
Yeah, I've one of those is a lot stronger than the other. I think it was the Juice Force, right? Those were pretty strong.
I think the Juice Force is stronger than Voodoo Ranger.
Yeah. So it's down at 1 and a bit percent, but the Blue Moon, that one's fairly light. Voodoo Ranger and Sierra Nevada is kind of a mix. Like they're right in the 4.5 to 8.5 and such, depending on which Sierra Nevadas we're talking about. But then we've got, so Sam Adams is in there, but then your local Bell's is right up there in the top 10, right near, what is that, 5, I guess, for having the share of this is the national brands too. So they're doing pretty well these days.
Yeah, I can get a Bell's, something from Bell's pretty much anywhere I go.
Two Hearted is now nearly everywhere, and I'm for that.
Even when I go out of state. Yeah, I kind of wish they'd pick something other than Two Hearted, but
I understand, but it is a well done IPA.
It is, but yeah. I'm still like,
yeah.
I know it's a well done IPA. I know it tastes delicious to most people who like IPAs, but it's not it is not my cup of tea.
It's the beer I will choose if I'm having one at the location, generally. So I'm talking about like restaurants and such. So I don't
Right.
usually go to bars, but if there's a great burger joint up near me that I love, Bub's. They have a Big Ugly. You complete it, you get your picture on the wall. One of those things. Um, but they almost always have Two Hearted, and it goes so well with the burger that's what I will drink there.
That makes sense if it pairs well with something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I always try to find something else. Usually my Alaskan Amber is usually my go-to which I feel bad because Bell's is Michigan. I should want to do that. But man, Alaskan Amber is a damn good beer.
It is a damn good beer. It is still not in Indiana. It is in Illinois, Michigan, and Ohio. When it gets to Kentucky, then I'll be really sad.
You'll probably go there first too.
Yeah, then I will be in the hole that is Indiana. And I have said that about Indiana more than once.
But you get some of the beers that I don't, so.
That's true. Yep. Mostly Indiana beers because I don't think too many of them distribute. Just Three Floyds.
Yeah.
Sun King's down in
Yes.
Florida now because they brew there too.
Yeah, Sun King still doesn't come here.
Yeah. I had heard or seen a couple of times that Metazoa is going to start brewing out of Colorado, and I don't know what that's going to do to their distribution. So
no, I did not see a Metazoa here somewhere.
Okay.
Somewhere else I was recently that I saw Metazoa and I thought of you.
I do enjoy visiting them. They always have a lot of animals.
That's what everybody tells me is that I should go there because I like animals.
Yeah.
And we skipped it to go to we have to be cognizant of everybody in our group. So we did breweries one day and then the next day we did wineries. So we drove past it to get to the winery we were going to.
Yeah, what is that? Oliver, I think, is right there.
Maybe.
Right across the street from Sun King. Something like that. Can't remember which winery it is. I haven't been.
Yeah, no, this one was on a corner.
Yeah. Well,
like
it's up the road from Metazoa. It's across the road from Sun King.
Great wine.
But yeah, there's other wineries around town too. So good. It wasn't the one right next to. There's one that has its grapes grow right next to the interstate coming into town from the east, and I always wonder about that. What exhaust those grapes have smelled.
You never know what the things that our environment does to.
Right. Yep. So that was it. Draft beer sales are up, and I think that's good. That must mean that people are out and drinking again out in public.
Right. So, speaking about beer sales, one of the articles that I found, and I know we try to stay away from politics a little bit, but I found an article that kind of talks about what tariffs mean for your beer, no matter where it's brewed. And I thought it did a really good job of explaining some of the challenges that breweries are going to come across when it comes to the tariffs that are being implemented lately. Obviously, hops, sometimes we get them from here. Sometimes you have to get them from farther away. So we all know how hops are going to be impacted by that. But one thing that people don't think a lot about is the fact that barley and wheat used to make your beer comes mostly from Canada, Europe, and Australia. So you're going to be looking at a cost of increase for those goods. Then the imposition of a 25% tariff on aluminum is going to play havoc with the price of a 6-pack, especially since the tariffs affecting aluminum steel haven't been paused. But not just your 6-packs, which I don't know about you, and I'm going to stop for a second. I don't know about you, but I've already seen this come into play. There's a couple breweries around me that already have stopped putting their beer in cans, and they're starting to sell them in growlers again. Have you seen that at all yet?
Growlers have always had a semi-popular vibe around here, but I really couldn't say. I don't think I've seen more growlers at the bars I've been going to than I used to see. So they're always around. So I do want to circle back a bit, but we talked about the aluminum tariff once before, and the goal, or my hope was that would lead to more recycling,
Right.
which would be an interesting new source of aluminum or domestic aluminum. But that's not something that happens quickly. That's not something that, we can just pivot to as quick as the tariffs have been coming and going and changing.
Right. Well, and that's another point that this article makes, is that even if you could figure out a homegrown substitute, you still have to convince farmers to shift what they're going to do. You have to change people's minds on how they want to do things. And it takes time to do all of that. One of the things that they used as an example is that hops take 3 years to generate a full yield. So if you want to switch to Michigan grown hops, it's going to take 3 years for them to create a new strain of hops that you might be looking for that you couldn't get here locally before.
And we talked to Benny at Hearsay just a couple episodes ago, and yeah, he was talking about how Michigan was a hop growing powerhouse back in the past until what was it, mildew, powdery mildew, wiped out the crop. But it could come back, as you say, though, 3 years from now, or 3 years from whenever they saw a need and started planting.
Yep. And we just had an article, or we just talked to somebody or had an article on about how we actually grew more hops than people were buying at
That's
one
right.
point.
You brought
So
that one
then
up last year, yeah.
they had to stop growing as many hops because they weren't selling them, and they only last so long in storage. So there's a lot of different things at play here that people don't think about, how long it takes to actually implement these types of changes. But one of the things that they brought up too is the fact that 99% of all of our kegs come from the European Union or China. So not only is the aluminum tariff going to affect your bottles or affect your cans when you take them home, but they also affect your pint.
Yeah.
Because those kegs then also are going to cost more money. Really.
I've seen a lot of really beat up kegs in bars.
Well, that's true. I think most of the brewers that I know will reuse kegs as much as they can, but there's only a point where you can do that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, well, right.
At some point they have to stop doing that and they have to buy new kegs. So
parts fail.
It's really just and then the last point that they had in here was the while there's some American brewing equipment manufacturers, most of our prominent and well-respected manufacturers hail from Europe and China. So, again, having a new brewery start out, it's going to be a lot harder for them to get equipment as well, or more expensive.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was that we were talking to who said they closed down a brewery. And their equipment was sitting here in Indianapolis. That's the only reason I remember it, because that's where the equipment was. Yeah, but there's only so much of that reusable, resaleable, old brewery equipment that can be picked up by breweries too.
Right, and there are. We will see. We've already talked about the fact that we're going to see a lot of breweries go under for whatever reason in the next few years. So there is going to be that equipment, but whether or not that equipment works in the environment that you're in has a big play too.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
So, but I just wanted to go over that, just a reminder as to why your beer might be going up in price. And when people say this is it's affecting, those are the types of things that it's affecting.
Yeah, make sure to keep supporting the breweries that you really love.
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially the little guys.
Drink local, my friends, wherever you are.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I am going to pivot, and then we're going to play a little game.
Okay, sounds good. I love games.
Yeah. I'm going to start with an Instagram post from I'm going to call them my friends. They don't know that they're my friends, but I've talked to them at a beer festival. That's right. I've invited them onto the show. I need to reach out to them again. But my friends at Bad Dad Brewing, they had a secret project going on, but they are going to be opening up a new location in Richmond, Indiana, in the historic Depot District. So I don't know. I do know Richmond, Indiana a little bit. It's far east side of Indiana. But they're a fun brewery. But it leads me to a little game I have for you, where I have written down a few of their highest, most check-in beers on Untapped, and then I'm going to ask you to guess their style based on their name.
Okay.
Okay, and it's multiple choice. So the first one I've got here, yeah, is the Tapestry of Obscenity. You're welcome to try to guess the style right away if you want, but Tapestry of Obscenity, which is one of my favorite beer names, and I know I've mentioned it before.
Tapestry of Obscenity.
It's such a dad thing. It's so wonderful. All right. Well, I'll give you some choices.
Yeah, I'm taking too much. Give me some choices because I'm taking too long to think about it.
All right. I have here a lactose full sour, an American IPA, or a stout with a bunch of stuff in it.
Stout with a bunch of stuff in it.
It is an American IPA,
Oh.
but I threw stout with a bunch of stuff in it because because of it's a tapestry of obscenity.
Our former host would have been all about that, the stout with a bunch of stuff in it for that name. I was going to say an IPA to begin with, and that's funny. Okay, next one.
All right. So their second most checked in beer is Your Grounded Mister. This one I thought was a little on the nose, but that's because I knew the answer.
It's got to be some type of lager.
So I have, in my choices that I wrote down, I said IPA, an Imperial Brown, or Coffee Stout.
Coffee Stout.
Yeah, that's the Your Grounded Mister. It becomes obvious. The Coffee Stout.
I was thinking the dad thing, which it makes sense. It goes back and forth because that's something a dad would say.
I find their humor perfect, and yeah, they certainly play both sides of it. Okay, we have here another one of my favorites names. It's Pull My Finger.
Is it a sour?
You know, it's funny because that was one of the choices I wrote down, lactose full sour. Because it really fits it nicely, but no, it is not a sour. I think it would work for that, though.
What are the options?
So the lactose full sour, which we know it isn't, a wheat ale or an IPA.
The wheat ale.
It is an IPA.
Really?
But yeah.
But I would have called a wheat ale that because wheat makes you all bloaty and gassy.
I think it works for. I did try to put together some tough choices. Like I didn't just randomly choose. All right. The fourth one I've got written down, and I've got one more and a bonus. The Dude Abides. The Dude Abides. Which is, of course, from The Great Lebowski.
Yes, I'm familiar.
I'm just helping to fill the silence while you think.
Dude Abides should be a stout.
And so one of the choices I wrote that is wrong is a white stout, which I think would fit so nicely.
A white stout's not a stout.
I know, it's a coffee. It's a coffee.
It's a coffee ale.
Yeah. No, it is not a stout, though. Okay. So I also suggested a double IPA or a Pilsner.
Pilsner.
Yeah, Pilsner. And I threw the IPA in there just because someone peed on the dude's rug.
That makes sense.
So
the reason that I think of stouts for The Great Lebowski is the whole no rules thing.
Yeah.
Because it's not a stout, it's a Vietnamese porter. But...
Okay. Okay. I could see it. Okay, so the last one that you have to guess on is socks and sandals, which is such a dad thing.
Oh my God, that has to be a lager. Please let it be an American lager.
It's not an American lager, but I'm going to give it to you because it's a golden ale, which is really, I mean,
Close.
yeah,
It's like the ale version of an American lager.
I don't know if they lager. I mean, Pilsner is, I guess, technically a lager. I don't know if they do like proper cold lagering there or not.
Okay.
I'm not sure. But yeah, gold. I'll give it to for sure. Golden ale.
I'm like, please let it be. It has to be like the most basic beer possible.
One of the options I had written down to help you was a stout with old clothes in it, which I think Dan would have enjoyed too. And the last beer that I wanted to bring up, well, no, I can't show you that. Okay, was going to be, well, I can't show it to you, but it's Shits and Giggles. It's the name of the beer. It's their Oktoberfest, and it's got beautiful umlauts and things over the eyes. So it tickles me every time. I think I've drunk it on air before, but yeah, I'd like that beer. Anyway, that was our game. That was Bad Dad. I'm going to have to make sure to clip this up for them and send it to them and say they've got to be on the show.
Yes, they should come on the show, and they should send us samples.
Yes, well, yes,
of their stout that is not a stout.
The Dude Abides. Yeah, I have samples in my fridge right now, including of the Dude Abides. I do have one more article if you've got some time.
I think we got some time.
So I am going to follow up with our friend Mark Lasberry from Indiana on Tap and just report back that Indiana on Tap was recently sold. It's sold to an in-state group okay, so Mark Lasberry was on episode 360 from Indiana on Tap, where we talked to him about all the wonderful things that they do around the state. And he had been talking at the time about things they were doing out of the state and things he does personally out of the state, including Michigan, Wisconsin, other places. The property was sold for a multi-million-dollar deal, which is good for them. But the buyer, by the name of Andrew, he was excited to get the on-tap tickets part of it. And we had talked to Mark about that too, because that was their totally free to the vendor or to the holder of the event ticket platform, where they do all the marketing and things for it. And
which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was a really interesting way to do the tickets. And I know I've used them. I've used their tickets before, so it worked on my end. And then it sounded Mark was doing other cool things with the events that were on that platform, where he was helping to coordinate them, do all the logistics. I don't know if you've ever planned a big thing like that. I'm pretty sure you have planned big things like that. There's so much logistics that goes into it that it's a lot of things to keep track of, a lot of balls in the air. So I'm interested in where that's going, but I thought that I would follow up that it was sold in case other people had seen it too.
I'm interested to see what they do with it now that they have control of it.
Yeah, if it gives breweries a way to host ticketed events at no or less cost to them, then that could be a good thing for them.
Yes, it could be a good thing for a lot of us. Like, I think a lot of us would like to see a more ticketing structure, like for a more consumer friendly ticketing structure.
Oh, are you talking about the big boys? Yeah, I agree. I hate working with them on any of the tickets that I ever buy. Such as I'm going to see Weird Al this summer.
Just anything, like even as somebody running smaller events, even when you go through Eventbrite and stuff like that,
yeah,
ticketing structures like that, you still have a lot of fees that are not really helpful to a small organization.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I haven't run through Eventbrite, but I know that we ran that. A friend of mine organizes a 5K, or used to organize 5K. His kids graduated out of that, so good for him. But yeah, same deal, where he found a good group that their charges were minimal and reasonable, so they were more friendly to the hosting organization. But yeah, it's a tricky spot for these platforms need to make money, sure.
Right.
So, but Indiana on tap, like one good way to make money is or one good thing is to increase the supply, right? So if more places want to have events, want to have events with you, then that's one good way to do it, I guess.
Yep.
So
I'm excited for them over there at Indiana on Tap to see what's going to happen next.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah. I am also excited. They did release a couple blog posts. If anybody ended up following Indiana on Tap because of our show, that's great. Please let them know. So that way we can get them back on and follow up with them to find out what's going on after this sale.
Absolutely. So, what exciting things do you have coming up in your beer world?
Two big ones to me, at least. So if you remember Greg McGill from Brewocracy in New Zealand, who we had on almost exactly a year ago, he and his lovely wife Alex are coming to stay with me for a week while they go to the beer conference. Or not quite a week, just while they're at the beer conference. So I will be going down there with them. Me as a media, him as an attendee, and Alex as a hanger-on, I guess. Although she does a lot in that brewery, so she's probably also an attendee.
If there is one thing that I have learned over the years is that you never discount the wife of the person who started the brewery, because even though they say they're only part owner, they have done a lot more than you think they did.
I think she just doesn't want to be on camera. Was really it.
Which is also something that I've learned.
Yes. So, and more power to her. But yeah, Greg has said that she like hauls all the malt up there, so he can brew whatever recipes he wants because he doesn't have to haul the malt up there. He'll make her do it, but he washes all the kegs.
That's a fair trade.
Yeah, division of labor. And New Zealand is one of those countries. All imports have always been expensive, so they definitely reuse their kegs and recycle what they can and all that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, the second part of that, of course, being going to the craft beer conference. And I have a meeting pass.
I'm not jealous at all.
Right. I have a fancy new hat. So if anybody is there and sees me in my fancy new hat, come up, say hi.
Buy you a beer.
Yeah, come up and say hi. Yeah, and I will have a microphone and we'll be able to put together some audio afterward, hopefully.
Awesome.
That's the plan.
I'm really excited. I'm going to be following along on all the posts and stuff of all my friends that are going to be there.
Yeah.
My plan originally was to go, but there's just too much stuff going on with Grandma right now for me to get away for that long.
I'm not on social media too much, but I'm going to try very hard to get some stuff posted. If not while I'm down there, then after the show is over, at the end of the day or whenever I can. So that's my plan. That's what I've got going on. The other big thing is that Presidential Brewing won March Draftness.
Yes.
And I don't know if you saw the absolute circus that is going to be happening over there on the day that we celebrate.
I'm super excited.
They have pulled out all the stops, it looks like. So I should have brought up the at least the Facebook post or something before. I don't have it up, unfortunately. May 17th, is that right?
Hang on, I'm going to look it up real quick.
Okay,
keep talking,
yeah.
I'm going to look it up.
I'll keep talking. But so as you know, Presidential Brewing won March Draftness, and as such, we better on draft, by which I mean Ken, is going to buy a keg of beer, a keg of their beer that we are paying for, and other people will be drinking. Hopefully, he gets to drink some of it. Let him drink some of it.
May 17th, the West Side Best Side March Draftness Victory Party. Let's see if I can share this.
Yeah, so they've got a DJ coming, DJ Tim from Ignite Entertainment. He'll be out in the beer garden. They've got a radio station coming. I will stop sharing, and maybe that will help you to share yours. WRKR 1077 is also coming. There are going to be promo giveaways. And Honor Credit Union is giving out a prize pack of, well, prizes. So whatever date that happens to be, I think it's May 17th. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
May 17th.
West
Hooray.
Side is the West Side.
At 1 p.m. at Presidential Brewing. And at the end of the party, local rock band SXX is going to start their show at 7 p.m. So that'll kind of wrap things up. I'm hoping to get up there. I don't know. That's a tough weekend for me, but I'm hoping to get up there. Ken's going to be there.
I am going to be there.
Excellent.
It's actually the first March Draftness party that I've been able to make since I came on as a host. Last year I had COVID. Maybe it was the year before I had COVID. I was sick.
Yeah.
For a couple of them, so I missed it. And then I had other commitments that I had signed on for. And this year I have a commitment, but I told him that I have to put this one first this year because I put them first every other year. So I will be there 100% for this party. Like, how can you miss a party like this?
Yeah. For me, I got to figure out if I can get up there. I really would like to. I really would. So if people were not excited about March Draftness before, then this is, I think, the biggest winners party. The one last year was pretty big, especially the show.
They did a good job.
Yeah. So, but they're definitely excited, and I'm excited for them, and I think it's going to be awesome. And I really hope I can make it. I hope others can make it too. So how about you, Wendy? Do you have anything else coming up other than May 17th?
I don't. I missed No Rules pickup today because I did the Diva anniversary party. So I'm going to be heading over to the west side of the state this week to pick up my No Rules. Other than that, I'm kind of boring right now. I can't do all the stuff that I want to do. So
yeah.
I'm going to pick up some beers to do reviews on and things like that. And yeah, I'm going to be living vicariously through all of my friends at CBC next week.
Did you get to live vicariously through me in Peoria last weekend?
That was funny to see.
Yeah. I did have a good time. I did get to all the breweries in downtown Peoria that I knew exist. So that's good. There's one I don't want to go back to, and I'm not going to name. And then there's Nightjar does an excellent job. They had really good beer, and right around the corner from them is a really good beer bar that had maybe 30, 40 taps. And they had a couple local flights, the preset flights, but you could do your own as well. So I was able to get to at least taste beer from Industry Brewing, which is 5 miles outside of Peoria, which doesn't sound far, but I was on foot all weekend. So I will say Peoria is quite a walkable city. And I went to one of the local landmarks. I forget the first name of it, Barrongill, something like that. The Barrongill Moron House. So,
Moron House?
yes.
That's really what it's called.
Yes, and it's
You know, I've
spelled
got a picture outside of that.
I have a picture of myself outside of that. It's spelled Morron. So, so yes, I had to get a picture outside of that house, and it's a pretty area. It's right on top of one of those bluffs that overlooks a river. It's the Illinois River that Peoria is on, and it was a beautiful view from up there. It was really nice. So I would say if you are in Peoria for a reason, then there is good beer to be found. I don't know that I would say that you need to go to Peoria to find good beer.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But okay, I get it.
Yeah.
So before I end my stuff, I will say there are a few really fun things that tickets have gone on sale for recently. And if I don't bring up your event, don't feel bad. It's just that these three were at the top of my head because they've come up in my news feed in the last like 24 hours. So the Michigan Summer Beer Festival, their tickets went on sale on April 15th to enthusiast members, April 17th general public. That is July 25th, 26th, and 25th and 26th. There are some changes to it. So they're going to have a concert at the end on July 26th. So we're looking at a little bit different schedule of events for the day. So make sure you look up what you're looking for. But definitely go and get tickets for that because that's an awesome time. World Expo of Beer tickets have recently went on sale. That is May 16th through the 17th in Frankenmuth, Michigan. That is a fundraiser that goes back to the community surrounding Frankenmuth. So I am always willing to support that festival. And something else that I think is really funny because I've never been there, but my beer divas in Ann Arbor post about it all the time. And every year they post about it, I say, I really need to do this. This sounds like so much fun. It is called Artini and is on June 21st in Ann Arbor. And it is a pub crawl where you go to the different restaurants in the area and you get different flavor martinis.
Oh,
so
sounds fun.
It always sounds fun. Every time I see him post it, I'm like, I really want to go. And I've never been able to make it because there's always something else going on. But tickets just went on sale for that. So look that up. Artini in Ann Arbor. Those tickets are on sale too.
I will throw one more in there. If you're in Indianapolis, the last weekend of July, the Indiana Microbrewers Festival down it's at Victory Field this year, which is kind of exciting to me. Usually it's at Veterans Field, Soldier Field. No, I can't remember the name of the Military Park. It's usually at Military Park, which is a nice park, but it's just a big grassy area. This time it's at Victory Field, which is a baseball stadium. So it's right near Military Park. But it is the last Saturday of July. I will not be there. I will be in Louisville instead on vacation, which is fortunate and unfortunate. So Louisville is a good beer city.
They are.
I'm looking forward to it a lot. The Airbnb we're in is between 3 breweries within 5 minutes, I think it is, walking.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it a lot. But that's the only festival I know of coming up. I mean, Dark Lord Day is coming, but it's funny. I saw them advertising on Untapped, and I was thinking, well, do they really need advertising? Don't they always sell out? But
are they still selling out?
That is an excellent question. I thought so, but
I don't think it's hard to get into as it was back in the day.
Okay.
Like I tried for 3 years to get in, and we had like 3 different computers up, and still couldn't get in. So I'll make it eventually.
I did not look this year. I want to say it's May 17th. It's right about
everything then. Everything is the same time.
Yeah, that's just kind of the way the world works, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I already knew that was going to be a tight weekend, so I wasn't going for Dark Lord Day. Not this year, maybe in the future. I did enjoy during COVID when it was just no party just pickup. That was great for me.
Right.
I'm not against metal music. I would enjoy it a lot, I'm sure, but it's less of a, well, it wasn't an all day thing except for the driving.
Right. I think I would probably drive less to get there than you.
It's about 2.5 hours.
Oh, no. I'm
Okay.
lying.
Okay. Yeah. Which isn't
I think it's
awful.
4 hours for us.
Okay.
4.5, maybe.
But if I was there drinking, that's maybe it's a
It's
sleeping
an
by the side
overnight
of the
trip.
first, but it's probably an overnight trip. Yeah. So that becomes more of an expedition, no matter how far it is.
Right.
It's not an Uber.
I can't really say that because I have Ubered long distances before.
Yeah.
Usually with a group of people though, so you're only paying like $100 a person to Uber the 2 hours or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that could be
So
made to work.
I've done that in Denver. I've done it here in Michigan from Grand Rapids to Kalamazoo. And I have also done it in South Carolina to go from Greenville to Asheville.
Yeah. Okay. I could see all those things. Yeah.
So it happens. Sometimes you just need to put the extra money out to make sure everyone's safe and can have a good time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The exit strategy is always the important part of these things.
Right?
I think that we are about wrapping up. Our next show is in 2 weeks, the second Friday of May, which is before the March Draftness. We are still working on scheduling a guest, so I can't announce who the guest will be.
There's a couple.
Yeah, we're going to try to reschedule Beer Girl from this week. Get her in hopefully soon. And then who knows who I'll get to talk to down there at the craft beer conference, but that'll be fun.
Absolutely. We have a few people we're working on, so
yes,
it's exciting. Exciting times coming up.
That's right. And much like everything falls on May 17th, eventually all the people we're talking to will ask for the same day.
They'll ask for the same day, correct?
So we'll make it work. All right. And with that, Wendy, do you have anything else that you want to say?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So whatever you think of your beer, we think it's better on draft.
Cheers.